Tonight, we've been talking with Supreme Court Justice Bernadette Clark. She's a pioneer for women in our region.
You know what? They're never going to pick me. So I have to do this against all odds.
She's had an entire career against all odds, being the first woman in just about every seat she's sat in.
Those firsts mean something, not just to me and my family, of course, but they mean something to all the other young women who are out there thinking, hey, you know, when's it going to be my turn?
She's used her turn to uphold the law and do her best to make lives better, especially for children.
Your children didn't want this. Don't put them in the middle of it.
Judge Clark recently ran for re-election. She won and is saying this will be her last term.
I learn something every day. That's why I love my job. That's why I ran again for a second term. Of course, I'm old enough to retire, but that wasn't going to happen.
Just like the law, she says another part of her job that she likes is the accountability, not just on litigants, but also on her.
We must believe in our elected officials, or if we don't, and if they don't do the job, we vote them out. And that's the same thing, you know, judges in New York State face election. And if we're not doing our job, then we shouldn't be voted back in.
That voting process is different for judges than other elected officials and complicated to understand.
I want to talk about the election process for Supreme Court a little bit because I think it's confusing.
It is very confusing.
Very confusing to people. Here's 3 things that I know, and correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay.
Okay. 1, it's huge. Your district covers, it's bigger than a congressional district.
Yeah,
right?
6 counties.
2, it's similar to Electoral College. You have delegates, correct?
Yes,
and
delegates from each party.
And then 3 is that you have jurisdiction over pretty much every case in your district.
Right.
Am I correct in those 3 things?
Yes.
And what else do I need to know?
No, okay. So as far as the length and breadth of the district, it's huge. It goes from Herkimer County in the east all the way to Onondaga County in the west, and then north to Canada, right, basically, you know, Lewis County, Herkimer County, and Jefferson County, Oswego County, you know, so it's a huge part of New York State. And you have to run in every county, which is unlike what I did for family court, where I ran in Oneida County. So you're basically unknown in every one of the other counties, and now you're running for office.
Running for office with no primary and being widely unknown is difficult. But this time around, Judge Clark got to run on her track record.
And if you honor me with your vote on Election Day, together we'll do it again.
She earned endorsements from every political party line.
And Clark, a Democrat who is endorsed by the Republican Party.
And from different media outlets across all 6 counties, including right here in Jefferson County from the Watertown Daily Times. But it's after the election, she said, the real work begins.
It could be as small as, you know, this is the fence. Well, your fence is on my property. Well, no, it isn't. Well, let's look at the surveys. It could be that small thing, or it could be a multi-million-dollar corporation having a dispute about an employee's contract.
So it's not that much different from everything else going on in the world. So
No.
how do we get through it?
Well, of course, when you're dealing with people, see, I don't think about my cases as cases. These are people. So a doctor's career is on the line, and this plaintiff who believes they've been injured in some way, that's their life, their livelihood, their life. They may not be able to work anymore, or who knows. So cases are people. Even corporate cases are people, right? That's what motivates me. I want to help people get to the answer. What's the answer? What's right? What happened here? Let's unpack it. Let's figure it out. It's a puzzle. Let's get to the bottom of it.
From cases like those to ones making the headlines. How do we find the answers? How do we get people to agree on what's right? And how do we use the law to do that?
Now, you are somebody that has dedicated pretty much their entire adult life now to the law. You love the law. You believe in the law.
Yeah.
You work hard every day to make sure that those gray areas are no longer gray for people who step into your courtroom. But in the headlines, we are seeing on a national headline scale things like Black Lives Matter and things for gay rights on the United States Supreme Court going through. Both things that I think are showing both the progression in our law and in some cases looking back and seeing how far we haven't come. And people are saying, is the law broken?
The law's not broken. The law is a breathing, growing organism that changes, that takes things in, but I will say it does move slowly. I mean, laws were passed many, many, many years ago, and we're still having the same discussions today in 2020.
As a district Supreme Court justice, of course, Judge Clark doesn't make laws. It's her job to interpret and then enforce them. How each judge or even person does that, though, is one reason her job exists.
I believe in the law, but I also believe it's all about the analysis and how you apply the facts to the law. And that's a process that lawyers and judges go through, and it's painstaking. But I think at the end of the day, the law changes in some fashion with society.
One of those laws that changed society was the Marriage Equality Act, one that led Judge Clark to another one of her first.
I'm proud to say I performed the first gay marriage in Oneida County when I was elected. And a lot of judges, I heard, weren't going to do it. They just weren't going to. It was against what they believed in. I couldn't wait to do it, because I was thrilled, But again, I was following the law. And even though, maybe it wasn't for everybody, but that was the law of the land, and I believed in it, and I thought it was the best thing that ever happened. I remember everyone celebrating in the chambers in Albany. I watched the video. It was I was crying. It was very emotional.
Those emotions paired with her empathy,
I sat on the floor with him in the grand jury.
compassion, smarts, and hard work have led Supreme Court Justice Bernadette Clark through a career of firsts that I'm convinced still aren't done. After the break.
I'm happy to say that's going to be my last first, though, probably.